Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Breakfast with Blaha, and today I'm having fat-free Greek yogurt, almond butter, and milled flax seeds. Let's talk about training minimalism and injuries. Now, this is something to where we can make the argument that very high specificity minimalist training can produce good results. It can. It can. But here's the problem we have. I've heard plenty of good coaches, very good coaches, who also point out that things like linear block periodization with just a handful of lifts is a good way to get really, really good at a handful of lifts real fast and then break. In other words, it's built a lot of champions. Like, no one's denying that. And I want to be clear on that. No one is saying people aren't, even guys with average genetics can't get to a 500 squat and a 600 deadlift doing this. I'm not saying people haven't broken world records doing this. What we are saying is you break decades faster, right? Not just a couple years faster. We're talking about decades faster. Plenty of guys who train this way get really strong 5 years, 6 years, and then they break. I mean, and in fact, I have a client, one of my strongest pound for pound lifters trained this way before he hired me. Now, when I say pound for pound, I mean, as of right now, he's 174, he squats 500, he deadlifts 565, benches 315. Okay, he was stuck at 440 training this way. Now, as a lighter guy, a 440 squat's pretty good. He got there in like 3-4 years. Okay, and then he stalled, and then he was beat up all the time. I took him to conjugate. He now squats 500. 2 years later, still at this similar body weights, he's gained a few pounds, right? But he's not beat up all the time. This classic example. Take me, for example. I went through a minimalist phase. In fact, I went through a Bulgarian training phase. I'm stronger now. By the way, I'm stronger. You guys have seen me hit bigger lifts. You see me hit bigger lifts. Not beat up all the time. I was getting pulls and pain all the time. I used to hurt. Okay? My IT bands used to hurt. My patellar tendons used to hurt. I was in pain. Gain strength, but as you can't do that as you get older. Right? I was trying to train that way at 41. Not going to work, fellas. Yeah, best of luck to you. So all you kids who are training this way now, you're like, well, I'll train this way. I'll do minimalism. Because I get that in my comments. Well, I'm a simple man. I think if you just work really hard at these handful of lifts, yeah, while you're young. And I went through a phase of saying, hey, we could do this. It works great. Because it will work great. You can get really strong. You get hurt easier. You're less jacked too. Right? You're not going to even be as big because the lower exercise selection is not going to give you better overall hypertrophy. Now people say, well, you could do better in weight classes. No, because you end up needing to be fatter anyways. It's actually hard to train that way and really get the overall size you need. You've got to get it somewhere. But the point is, I was beat up. You guys are going to get beat up doing it. Okay? And as again, plenty of other coaches have noted, these block periodization guys using the Russian methods, they didn't care. They could just replace them with new athletes. No one cares if they broke those people. When these training systems were developed, they had state-sponsored athletes, plenty of them, and it was war. They were in it to win it. They didn't care if 100 of their lifters broke, right? If they had 100 people trying to qualify for the Olympics, they didn't care if 90 of them broke and were injured within the first 5 years and completely out. When you have a system like that, to put that in context in the way these systems were developed, okay, you're replaceable. When you're training for yourself, you're not a state-sponsored athlete in a communist country. You're not replaceable to yourself, are you? I would hope you're not. Overuse end. All right, and that's what training minimalism means. People say, well, minimalism is low. No, 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 no. You can do low volume conjugate. All right, you can do low volume conjugate. Minimalism doesn't mean low volume or less time in the gym. It means you focus on a handful of exercises. Focus on like 5 exercises, 6 exercises, 4. Right? 4. And I've seen people who literally do that. You do that instead of 50, 60, 80. You can run low volume conjugate. You can do 2 accessories and leave. You do your max work, speed work, 2 or 3 accessory lifts, go home. Right? You can go 4 if you want to be on the minimal end of optimal. Totally doable. And again, the overuse side. And the thing is, it's not just the overuse injuries, it's the way that you feel. Any one of you guys out there who run this type of training, the minimalist training, I want you to answer me honestly. As you've actually gotten decently strong, I'm not talking about you guys who are still squatting 275. Okay, all you guys who use minimalism, by the time you're at a 300 bench, 400 squat, 500 deadlift, can you honestly tell me that you feel amazing every day? Can you tell me that you don't feel run down? That you don't feel beat up? You don't hurt? Now, people are going to use the excuse, well, as you get older, you're going to hurt anyways. No, you don't necessarily have to hurt. I woke up completely pain-free this morning. Hey, I'd say I haven't had my minor issues. I'm saying I didn't have that shoulder impingement, which was, again, overuse related. Doing the same movement over and over and over, not rotating my stuff caused it. I don't hurt. I'm about to be 45. So don't buy into that. Oh, well, you're going to hurt no matter what. No, that's not true. Not true at all. That's your problem with the training minimalism. Now, a lot of people, this is the answer I've also heard, can't you just train this way to build a base real quick? Sure, it's called novice programs. 2 or 6 months. What I don't recommend is guys who are like, well, I'll stick it out for 5 years and then I'll switch over. Well, the overuse might already have been accumulated by this point. You might already have shitty elbows. You might already have shitty knees. You might already have these problems by then. It makes sense to build a quick base with high specificity, all right, and then switch over. And the thing is, we can still do high specificity on a system like this for a novice anyways. You don't have to rotate their stuff as much. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.